to How to CodeJam in 2025. So, for a question here, who is a first year here? Or like, who is, okay, so a few of you are first years, who's never done any type of like competitive programming before? Most of you, basically all of you, sure. That's pretty good. So, if you don't know what this event is so far, that's what this talk is about. It's not going to be very long. It'll be like 5-10 minutes max, and then we'll talk about a demo, and we can actually like, you guys can start practicing on some questions, but we'll just get right into it. So, what is CodeJam? Basically, CodeJam is, it's a competition that's going to last basically from like 10 to 4 around, that you do competitive programming questions on, which we'll see what they are in the future, like 5 to 10 minutes. But basically, your goal is to solve as many of these little programming questions, programming problems as you can in that 5 hours. Problems scale in difficulty, so for a lot of the problems they'll be easy or medium or hard. The harder the problems you do, the more points they're worth, so that is something to keep in mind. You are ranked. There is like a leaderboard here, because that's kind of a point, it's competitive. So it is fine to like try to like verse your friends and see who can get a higher leaderboard position. The higher, obviously, the more points you have, which is the more questions you do, and the higher the difficulty of the questions, the better your position will be on the leaderboard. If you have a high enough position, or you're a high enough first year, you can actually get pretty nice prizes with this, which we'll talk about later. One thing that's nice about CodeJam, and just programming questions in general, is you can select whatever type of programming language you want. So like, if you're used to Python, you can use Python. If you've done maybe C++ in the past, you can use C++. It's pretty nice like that. That's all there is. Who can actually participate and join us for this session? So the tickets are kind of expensive, $15, but even if you haven't taken the tickets, which by the way, they do close tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So the last chance to get tickets is tomorrow midnight, effectively. Anyone can actually join us. So whether you're online or in person, you can participate in this competition. You don't have to have a ticket to show up IRL either. You can show up without a ticket. We'll just basically mark you with a different wristband. The tickets only allow, or like the purpose of the tickets is basically we can give you food. That's pretty nice food. And it also lets you enter the prize pool. Because if you don't have a ticket, we just can't offer you a prize. Basically, we can't offer you any prizes, but you can still go there and join the fun. You can get free Red Bull regardless of whether you have a ticket or not, so that's pretty cool. We have a lot of Red Bull in case any of you are maybe slightly addicted to it, but yeah. The rules are pretty simple. This is pretty competitive, and as such, it's mostly individual work. You can like talk to friends and stuff, but you shouldn't share your code or like really talk like, hey, this is exactly how you solve this problem or like this other problem. Ideally, it's just how much can you get done? How much can like you push yourself to see? And well, actually, like, yeah, how much can you do by yourself, basically? To be eligible for prizes, you have to be a ticketed member. You also have to be a current uni student, a current UQCS member. If you haven't joined the club yet, you probably should. It's only $2 and you get like free pizza for the whole year. It's a pretty good deal. Yeah. And if you're not any of those specifics, you can still participate, but you just can't get selected for prizes. And yeah, you're a first year if you're in your first year of studies. Pretty obvious stuff. This one might be an important one. You can't use LLMs. You can't use ChatGPT. You can't use Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek. You can't use any of it. If you do, you get put on a little text file. It's called the list of shame. And you just can't participate anymore. And also, we just won't give you any prizes. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you do use it, like, yeah, just don't use it. Because if you do use these are good enough that they will just solve any problem. Most of the problems for you in like one shot. And that's cool and all, but it basically just means, like, why did you bother? This is kind of the purpose of CodeJam and kind of competitive programming, is to see how far you can push yourself to like exceed in a personal environment and maintain that competitive aspect. But yeah, no LLMs. Scoring is, I talked about this before, but it's pretty obvious. Each challenge has some score that's ranged from easy to medium to hard. The range is about like 10 to 100. Most easy questions will be at about 20 score. You'll have medium questions which are about 30 to 50, and you'll also have harder level questions. What else do we have? The way scoring works is pretty obvious. You can, if you have a problem, you can take as many attempts as you want at that problem, that's fine. The score that gives you the highest point, like whichever algorithm you have that gets you the most score, will be the one that's used for the leaderboard. And if you end up tying with someone in the leaderboard for some reason, the way we break that tie is we basically see who got the most points the fastest. So like when the timer starts and you do a question in say like 10:50, and the other person did a question in 10:52, we can see that on like just a little dashboard thing. And so whoever does it fastest wins. In terms of a tiebreaker, that probably shouldn't happen, but it's not too, it has happened in the past, so yeah. That's prizes. Free money. You get $150 if you're first place. That is kind of hard to get because there are some very good programmers out there. But if you're a first year, you can actually get a $120 Visa gift voucher, which is pretty good. The watch I'm wearing right now is actually basically fully paid for from one of these prizes in a previous year. So that's cool. Like you do just get free stuff. Like if you can get it, good. That's why like you do it. It's competitive. It's 1v9. Also, thank you to IMC for kind of giving us all these prize pools. That's pretty cool. Speaking of IMC, special appearances. We have IMC trading. So they'll actually have representatives from the IMC lab, I think, coming from Sydney. Yeah, they have a few representatives from Sydney. They'll be coming there, they'll be like walking around. You can talk to them about whatever you want to. If you're interested in trading and stuff, they're definitely worth talking to. And yeah, you can basically just talk to them, whatever. We also have a lot of rental. I mentioned this before. We have 192 cans. So I think with the number of tickets we have, everyone can get free cans each, and not everybody is going to be taking cans. So if you want a ticket, or if you want a can, please take it and drink. Don't drink too much though. That's not like a UQCS thing, that's ideally don't die. That would be a lot of paperwork. But yeah, that's it. I kind of speed ran through that. But does anyone have any questions? And if there's no questions, we're just going to do a demo after. But yeah, questions?
I know that we have like a day. How would you suggest like if you want to like prepare for the practice?
Okay. Preparing is after actually. But the best way to prepare, I think, because it is on Saturday, is, do you know what HackerRank is? Yeah, so like doing questions on HackerRank and lead code and all this stuff is basically the same type of questions we'll be doing online. We also have previous year CodeJams, which you can find on our website, and I think we'll probably send some links in Discord as well, because we've done this in previous years, and we can also, you can access them and just do the questions now. Yeah.
Are any of the Red Bulls sugar-free?
What's up?
Are any of the Red Bulls sugar-free?
Yes.
Sugar-free Red Bulls.
Roughly 50 of them.
50. So if you want to and nobody else wants sugar-free, you can have 50 sugar-free Red Bulls. Okay. Any more questions?
With the test case, how many of them are going to be hidden and how many are we going to be able to see like for each question?
So it depends per question basis, but for most of them you can see about 2 public test cases, and we'll also have 2 explanation test cases too. So it will see about 2 explanations, 2 public test cases, and there'll be about 5 to 10 private test cases. So yeah, you should have enough of an understanding of the problem, but if you don't, you can just like ask. I guess should be good. Any final questions?
The public test case is basically the same with the ones that has explanations. So
yeah.
2 test cases in total.
It will probably end up being 2, because any public test cases are actually the explanation test cases. But yeah, that's fine. Should be fine. Oh yeah. By the way, I haven't just been putting brain rot things randomly. There are some questions that maybe relate to this.
Oh
It's
no.
They're hard questions. Oh, also there's this random gift which doesn't relate to anything at all. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Anyways, if you guys have laptops, we can do a demo CodeJam, and I could kind of walk you all through how the kind of it looks and structured. You can actually get to practice on some problems yourself. So if you just go to this link, should be good.
Post that link. Can you send?
Yeah, sure. Oh, Amy, can you send the link
Yes,
on
on Discord.
general?
General.
General, sure, okay. The link will
I
magically
think
appear.
send it in events maybe.
Yeah, if you want. In events. In
Oh, events?
five
Okay.
minutes, sure. Yeah. And we will. Oh, I will point out, since it is online, like CodeJam stuff, for Python you can use all the default libraries, but you can't import like NumPy or something. You won't need to, because we're not building any more questions to work with NumPy or some fancy libraries. That's just one thing to know. What's up?
I'm just gonna put my like 540 pieces in my 580. Can you like slow up?
Okay. That's
Slow
because
down.
it's only 10 minutes, even for the previous year.
One of the questions uses the bisector library. Otherwise, they have to make a manual BSD.
I think they can. Because if they can import it, they can use it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use libraries.
Yeah.
But yeah, just make it.
Yeah, 'cause I-
Standard library.
Yeah. Okay. 540 for pizza. It's moving, not slow. Okay, it's gonna become a CPG. We're making it into CPG. Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming have you posted it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The link is on Discord. I'm gonna move it to the final slide, which is basically how to get ready. And yeah, while we're waiting for pizza, you guys can get some extra practice. I don't know how to like split the whatever. What's up?
What's he trying to do?
Okay. Yeah. If you have to, yeah. That's fine as well. Okay. Can you guys like get into the demo easily?
Yeah.
You guys in? Okay. Let's go. Oh, that's too much. No, don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay. This is, you can consider this a little mini CodeJam actually, because I just realized this is a competition. You do have a ranking result even. Oh, that's fine. Okay. I can't see. Let's see. No, you're good. Okay. Okay. Anyways, so I'm guessing you guys can log into this pretty easily. If you haven't made a HackerRank account, you should do that because we're hosting it on HackerRank. So that's good to have. But when you sign up to the competition, this isn't the actual competition, just to be clear here. This is just a demo. But when you click on like, I forgot what the thing is, but when you enter the contest, it should look something like this. And as you can see, we have a few questions. They have different levels of difficulty, and they're worth different amounts of points. There should be a lot of questions, like you shouldn't be able to get through all the questions by the time you finish. But let's just pick the easiest one, which is car finder. And the way this works is, I may have already done this crazy, is you just have this little section here, which is title. You'll have something that explains how the problem actually works and how it looks. Usually you have some weird input problem that might involve the little brain rot things that I had. But anyways, you'll have your question, you'll have an input format, you'll have constraints, so you don't have to like solve some really weird problem that only exists if like it's not an integer or something. So if you notice here it says constraints n is greater than 0, which also means that it's going to be an integer. We're not randomly going to throw you like a string when you expect an integer. So you don't have to do like any type checking. You can just assume it's correct. But yeah, this problem I think is saying, I can't see my, oh, I can't see it. No, let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it. This. Okay, good. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, but the swapping PCs. Oh yeah, does anyone have any questions so far, or like, how do you start or anything? Okay.
We use the machine translation to better understand the.
Like, can you use GPT to ask what the question
No,
is?
not AI. It's a machine translation.
Like,
Translation as
thinking
in
about?
to a different language.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. It should, like if you scroll at the bottom, you can select different, like a bunch of different stuff. So I'm gonna use Python, because I'm most comfortable in Python.
Wait, do you mean by like human language or machine language?
Like, what are you trying to use?
Like Google translation.
Oh, as in the, like.
Oh yeah, sure.
I think you can use Google
process
Translate.
in different languages.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
fine.
Google has inbuilt translation, so I think it should
Yeah,
be fine.
just don't use it, like don't use a generative model, but like if you want to like Google Translate.
Don't use ChatGPT to translate, for example.
Yeah.
But you can use Google Translate to translate.
Or even public translation.
Yeah, like this is fine.
Google Price.
Like if you want to use this is fine. Just don't throw it into like an LLM and accidentally see the entire solution and be like, I guess there we go. Okay. Any more questions? No. Yeah.
I think it's
I'll just explain this really quickly, and then I'll let you guys try to solve it by yourselves. So yeah, you can select different programming languages. Pretty cool. That's just gonna fall off. Just do this. Wow. Basically, you can read what types and what the function is expecting of you here. So, in case you don't know, this question is basically asking us, we have an array of strings, we're going to get a letter, and we're going to get the number of times that letter has to appear. If the letter appears like 2 times, you want to return that string. So energy, Easter, and sleeping should be the output, because we expect 2 E's in each word, so that's what we should return. This is what it looks like in Python. It's different in different languages, but okay, maybe CoffeeScript, nobody uses that language.
Or it could be the code that wasn't generated for it.
Yeah.
Maybe
The
look at
concept should be
Haskell.
generated. It should be in Haskell, but yeah, we can check that later. I just wanna... Yeah, so basically, you don't have to worry about this thing. This is the thing that like interprets the raw strings and converts them into, say, integers or arrays or strings. So yeah, if we read here, we can see that C is the character, N is the number. Array length is just going to be the length of this, because some programming languages don't have like, you can't just length of the array, which is why we give it to you, but in Python, this is actually useless. And R, which is just the actual array. So yeah, you basically just try to write your code here, write an answer. You can click run code to kind of compare your function against the test cases. Doesn't work because there's no code. And to actually submit the code to put yourself on a leaderboard, you have to click submit code. So running does not actually give you any points. It's just there to like test if your code seems to work well, and you submit when you actually have issues, or when you're actually confident enough to get it right. So yeah, try it. Good luck. There's also quite a few more questions. So that's cool. Yeah. Oh, any more questions? You can just walk up to any one of us if you have anything. So yeah, cool.
Do you want to show them the editor mode? Vim and dark mode?
If you're one of the very strange people that uses Vim or Emacs or dark mode, you can change it too. There's just like a little nice little appearance thing.
You can even change how far the tab is.
If,
Which is kind of evil.
if you're a psycho with 8 spaces, you can have tabs that go 8 wide. But yeah, it's just an extra little thing. If you don't know what Vim is, do not click on it. It will result in like half your code disappearing randomly. Cool.
Can you like also tell people we will have pizza in roughly 20 minutes so they don't just
If you are here for a pizza, which is a very fair point, that is one of UPCS's strong points, pizza is here in about 20 minutes. So lock in for 20, see if you can get number 1 on the leaderboard, and then you get pizza.
The thing that happens is, you can see, if the answer, we're expecting a string array as an answer. And also, if you remember, a string is also sometimes treated as a list of letters. So basically, that when the one get an output, we do the join, we do the join. It splits everything and we join it with the next stage to be output. And there will be happen the first element.
Don't get ready to go. It's gonna bend your head.
Oh, this is now. Let me smoke these.
Yeah.
What's up?
Good practice.
I think
1v1 level.
should you tell people that if they have a question while doing the practice, they can ask for help from one
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, I think if I have any questions, I can.
Yeah, because this is practice anyways.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. Do you have something?
Oh,
I mean, yeah, you can go for it. Yeah. As long as it compiles.
but can we submit the code, rerun the code and see who else?
Yeah. You run it then send it.
Okay. If I submit, if I want to change the code, let me.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, do you want to talk about what happens when you submit a code? There are 3 type of cases.
Okay, let me just do this real quick. Oh, small thing I forgot to acknowledge, which is a very good point. If you submit your code and it's like partially right, but you want to like go back and see it again, when you press submit, it actually shows you empty. Well, okay, in this case it tells you what I wrote, but sometimes it will just show up as like nothing again. And if you're like, no, my code disappeared, you can get it back. Just go into submissions, click view results, and you can click open editor here, and then it'll bring you back to where you actually have the code you wrote. So your code does not get lost, but yes, you have the.
Can I do something? So sometimes your code can work partially. So your code can maybe not have the entirety of the answers. So basically, for example, I just have the answer for one test case. So energy is for sleeping. So that will pass one of the test case, which happens to be the sample test case, but it wouldn't pass anything else. When I submit code, I can see there are, it will show me that I passed test case 2, which is one of the sample test case, but failed other. There are 3 types of states. There is the pass, so you got correct answer, which will appear as a tick. You got wrong answer, which will appear as a cross, and you got wrong and error, which will appear as a exclamation mark with a red triangle. The thing is, we are rating you're going to get scored by how many test cases you pass. So if you, for example, pass 2 of the test cases, but not pass 1 of them, in this case, sample test case worth 0 marks, which is why you only have 0 marks, but sometimes you can have partial marks. Like if you pass test case 3, you'll have 5 marks, but you didn't pass any other test case, so you have a total of 5 out of 20 marks. You can keep improving your solution until you get all the marks. There is also the case where you have run out of time, so sometimes the code complexity, the asymptotic complexity of the code also matters. Some code will run longer. There is a limit for all the time you can run your code in. For Python, I believe that's 2 seconds. So if your Python runs longer than 2 seconds for a test case, it's going to terminate and you're not going to fail that test case and you'll get a exceed time warning. Basically, you can score partially and you'll still have marks, but if you want to score full marks, you will need to write out a full solution that works for every test case.
Well, I want to see this thing. Do you want to say more? No. You should go to the line. Just smell on it. You want to just smell on it? No, because it'd be funny if you do it in your red, and then they can see. Yeah. Actually, no, don't worry about it.
Do you want me to just show them how this, for example, I can do random shift. If you remember earlier that when nothing was written and we submitted code, there is this compilation error. That is one thing you can get. And since I am an admin, I am not an admin. Give me a second to give myself admin permission.
Wait, if they know the exact problem, can they just Google the answer to it? Because that feels a bit...
Usually we will paraphrase it if they Google that spec.
Because they can use Google to obviously find syntax.
They can
and
learn
solve
the
problems.
techniques.
The idea
But to
is the
solve-
question makers are not just like
You couldn't just
Yeah, if-
paste it
if
because
it's
they
easier
have different
to-
stories
Okay.
and the description is
Sure.
different. One of the main challenges is to actually read the description and know what
Yeah,
the question
exactly.
is asking.
It shouldn't just be a copy-pasteable.
Yeah, just like real world questions.
Yeah, I'll just mention that. Just a little thing. So yes, you can't use Gen AI, but if you don't know how the syntax works, or if you don't know how syntax works, or how a certain function works or a method, you can Google that. That's completely fine. If you also have an idea of like, oh, maybe this subproblem that I'm not quite sure how to solve will be really helpful here, you can Google that. That is fine. It's also fine if you just want to like solve it yourself and just see how it goes. Yeah, just a small extra thing. Google is fine.
So, if I am a sneaky moderator and I can see the challenge, this is to be expected because you're going to get into some like, perhaps you will exceed the runtime. Like for example, when I do a while true loop inside here, I just, while 1, pause, yeah. And then I submit that code. You're going to get something, if you run your code too long, you're going to get something like it's again queued. But you're going to get an error that tells you your code runs too long and you didn't pass this case. If you have that, you're not going to score the marks. For some difficult code, you need to use more advanced technique to reduce the time you use to run the code. As you can see, there is a terminated due to timeout error. For some questions, you will have to do them. There are advanced technique that's going to make your code run faster.
But sometimes you don't have that advanced technique, and that's okay. If you got some marks, you think this challenge is a bit too hard, you can totally just abandon it, do some other question, and maybe come back to it when you have to think of more advanced technique. One common thing this happens to is the recursion and dynamic programming. Some questions can be solved easily, very easily with recursion, but for larger test cases, they'll take way too long. And if you use dynamic programming, you're going to reduce the time for your question. And it's okay to just, if you don't know how to improve your code, to just abandon this and go do another question like chord or selling sandwiches. Oh, by the way, one thing is that some questions are in series. So you can see that there are selling sandwiches 1 and selling sandwiches 2. They're related to each other. So that is to be expected as well. The story, their word will also connect.
We didn't bring the little process, did we?
We didn't break
Because
the
we
rule.
don't actually, because we have someone who's done 2.
Where?
Someone's done 2 already. I'm showing the leaderboard.
You're showing the leaderboard. Do you want to continue as if you log in first?
I'm gonna see what my cursor is.
You,
He's gone.
no, it's.
No, we don't want that.
Oh, you don't.
Yeah, it's good. Only high quality. Okay. We got one person who's answered 2 questions. Let's go.
Oh,
Quite a few have answered
tell
one.
them where the leaderboard. Where to find the leaderboard.
I showed.
Not contest, but UTCS CodeJam. Go back, go back.
I can't see.
Double click. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you want to see what the leaderboard is, I don't know why this one gives you an error. Just click current leaderboard, and you can see it. You can also see like the time taken, I guess. But yeah, if you want to see how fast they're doing it or what questions they're doing, you can just click on, hello, this person's partially answered one problem. But yeah, you can see that I have done Pathfinder, this guy has done Pathfinder, and he's also attempting selling sandwiches 1. So, yeah, just fun to look at.